How's it going, you guys? Welcome, CGMA Dynamic Sketching. This is our first session. This is an introduction, and of course, I'm going to spill you guys as much information and details as I can for you guys going into the rest of the term. So again, welcome to the class. I'm Peter, and I'm going to give you guys much of the process about how to sketch, basically, and being able to build your process within confidence and being able to quick sketch as much as possible, right? Now, just to give a little bit of background as to where this class comes from, I went to Art Center here in Pasadena, California, and I was taught by my mentor, Norm Sherman, and this process was handed down to me, and which is what I'm going to try to do for you guys, okay? Now, we're going to be covering a lot for this first session. Well, it's not too much. It's just going to be more on the basics of being able to use the materials and pens, and from there, as we go into the next few weeks, we'll be getting into more on terms of shape language, details, textures, all that kind of stuff, all right? Please keep in mind that we'll have weekly Q&A sessions, and of course, as much questions as you guys can ask, it'd be great. Please consider asking your questions in the forum section first, so that way I can prepare to basically answer those questions. And also for people that cannot join us for the Q&A sessions, you can use those forums to basically ask your questions, and I can answer them, and you can watch the recordings thereafter, all right? Now, the way the session in this class is always going to work, just to give you guys a bit of introduction towards it, is I'm going to give you guys a lecture of the notes on the board. You guys will try to attempt them as best as possible based on the information I'm giving you. And of course, I will be doing short feedbacks for you guys online. Okay, so you'll be submitting your homework, and I'll probably look at them and give you guys a short 5 minutes or so of feedback in terms of my thoughts, what you can improve on, and where you can move forward. So that way, when we come to the Q&A, we'll have additional questions or any refinements that we can get into. Okay. Now, regardless, everybody will be getting their feedback sessions, and of course, we're going to try to get some more information from the Q&As. And of course, we're going to try a few more experimental things as we go along. Keep in mind, with my class, I like to also just adjust things in case we want to try something new, or if we go into the Q&A session and say, I want to try some, different kind of feedback sessions, stuff like that will happen. But no matter what, I'll always give you guys the heads up, the information before we get into any of that kind of stuff, okay? So just keep that in mind, and I'll always remind you each session, okay? So for week 1, I just want to make sure you guys have the proper materials. So we have week 1 session, and all you're really going to need is your sketchbook, okay? And that's either any type of brand brown tone paper. And we're looking for the brown tone paper because we're looking at the mid value at the moment. So we can go down in value with the pens and up in value with the highlights. So we have our sketchbooks or paper, brown tone. Now, you guys have probably gone over the materials list, but again, I'm going to go into a bit more details as to what these materials are and why we are using them, okay? We have felt tip pens. Now, the reason why we're using felt tip pens is because it's a merciless tool. Every mark you're going to make, it's going to show you every mistake, okay? So it's really important that we have a tool like this which is permanent, because you guys might be used to using pencils and ballpoints, but I'm restricting that mainly because, again, I want you guys to make as many mistakes as possible. So from there, hopefully, we'll have a learning process through a lot of repetition, through mileage. You'll be able to build, again, your process for yourself. Now, these are just the base materials that you're going to need just for today as we go through the rest of the term. Each week, if we need something new, I'll introduce it and talk about it. Of course, you guys should have a complete list of things, and if you got them already, great, but I won't really talk about them until we actually have to use them. For now, we'll just focus on these two, okay? Now, for this particular class, I've always found that, using markers and stuff can be very beneficial in terms of materials. So if you have those, it can be quite useful. And we're probably going to be using them potentially a little bit later on in this lecture. Like I said, we are going to be building mileage first, being able to control the pens, because it's a scary thing. Having a blank piece of paper going in there with a pen, that mark you make is a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear attached to a drawing. And so you guys might have that too right now. Fear and anxiety, self-consciousness about not being able to create a perfect sketch. That's not what this is about, okay? In this class of dynamic sketching, making mistakes is going to be crucial, accepting them, moving on, okay? So we're trying to get that out of your head, right? Trying to get something so perfect onto the page. We're going to try to do that through repetition and hopefully through refinement of being able to get a better and better sketch. So right now the fear is a part of your drawing process, but for me, fear is not there, okay? The anxiety is not there because I still enjoy what I'm doing. I've been drawing since I was just a little kid, and I've still been able to push and have the same sort of interest in the things that I'm drawing at a young age as I am now. So that is why the things that I produce for myself, things that I produce for clients, and the things I do for teaching is why I enjoy it so much. It's because it's something that I'm doing for me. It's fun. So keep in mind that this is the way I want you guys to approach this class. You are drawing in here for you. You are not drawing for me. So hopefully you guys will be able to, again, produce something that you will enjoy, even if the results are not as close as you want it to be. Again, that's not the point, okay? The process and the mindset is everything. I'm going to just erase this real quickly. I just wanted to list down just the 2 things we needed. Let's get rid of this. And we're going to talk about a few of the types of warm-ups that you guys are going to be doing. And I'm going to set up the board first. Please try to do this if you can. If you have your piece of paper, please place a vertical line down the side, whether it's in the right-hand side or left-hand side. Now, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, the idea is that when we are doing these exercises, you're going to be trying to push away from your body, okay? So let me set up our first line. Let me get rid of this, week 1. Now, with these pens, we got to be able to build mileage and control of this tool. And to do that, we got to do something that's very simple, tedious, and mundane as it is, but still something that can help us control these through practice and over time. The first thing that we're going to be doing is just trying to control our confidence in line work, okay? So we're going to start with a really basic line. We're going to do 2 more different sections of different kinds of line exercises. Then we're going to move on to another section, changing gears, okay? So the first thing that we're going to be doing is just a line, and off that vertical line that you just created, again, you can use a straight edge if you like to, everything else will be freehand. You will create a very short horizontal line coming off the vertical. You know, create maybe 3 or 4 if you can. Now, seems simple enough, short line. But here's the trick, and I'm sure some of you guys may have seen the workshop and stuff like that. You know this exercise, and the idea is that we are going over these lines 8 times over, okay? You can count it out and try to reproduce it really cleanly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to do that for every single line that you placed on your page, okay? So for now, while this lecture is happening, try to create 3 or 4 if you can, and just go over them 8 times over. While you are watching this lecture, I hope you guys are taking notes, trying to reproduce some of these on your own. Don't just sit there and just watch it, okay? Actually try it, make it as a note-taking process, and actually apply it to your homework afterwards, okay? Short line, simple enough. We're going to produce 3 more sections based upon the line work itself. We're going to go medium length. So we have a short, that's about 2 inches in length. We'll go medium, which is about a halfway point of your page, okay? And you'll produce 3 or 4 more of these. I'm going to give you guys the homework list as to what you're going to be producing, but for now, just follow along with what I have here, okay? Again, on top of these lines, you will go over them 8 times over. Now, if you're getting something like this, the broomstick, we need to be careful about this kind of stuff. This is about control, so be really steady with it and try to maintain a nice, accurate line, okay? From here, what we're going to be doing is pushing 1 more section. Now, as you're doing this from a short and medium line, I'm sure you guys are starting to ask yourself a few questions. First is, well, how do I just hold the pen? Now, depending on the kind of pen that you're using, there are 2 standard pens that we're going for, which is one, the Staedtler, the gray felt tip pens. The other ones are the Faber-Castells, okay? Now, when you're using these pens, ideally, it would be nice if you guys were holding the pens as vertical as possible, okay? Now, this is a 90-degree angle, and it's tough. It's really uncomfortable holding a pen like this. However, it would be ideal if you can hold it as vertical as you can, within the realm of comfort. Because these pens and how they're shaped work best if they're more vertical because of the flow of ink. The more you rotate the angle of that pen and tilt it, it will start to catch the edge of the felt tip, and your line will not be very consistent. And so that's why this exercise will not be as beneficial to you. Couple things I want you guys to be aware of also, not just on how the angle you're holding your pen, but also how hard you're holding your pen. If you find that you're gripping your pen really tight and you got the white knuckles, relax your grip. okay? Relax your grip, back away from it, pace yourself. Speed is your kind of judgment. Faster or slower is up to you because everybody's perspective and how they work is different. For me, I have a steady pace of kind of a slower movement and I stay consistent to it, but I can speed up over time. Let's do a longer line. I'm going to do one more vertical over here. This is your long line, which is going to go full page, okay? And the same thing, you will go over these 8 times over. Now, again, it gets progressively harder with each section that we're going to be getting into. Short, medium, long, 3 sections. So from here, again, a more vertical pen, trying to maintain a steady pace. Try moving faster though, or try moving slower. Keep in mind, if you move fast, you're going to get a really inconsistent line. If you move slow, you're going to get a very shaky line. So you're going to have to find that balance as to where it fits for you, all right? So the next section, we've done line exercises, 1 page, move on. Next page. We're going to try some arcs this time around. And the arc is going to be obviously a bit more of an augmented type of line work, but we're going to change directions on this one too. We're going to try a few that are short, that are down and up and over, okay? So short line, an arc. Same thing from over here. You're going to go over these lines 8 times over. Again, what we're trying to do is build now muscle memory, okay? In this class, really the most important thing that happens is the fact that you're building this mileage and hopefully you can maintain that discipline to carry with you, because what I tell people is the real work begins when the class is done. When the class is over, do you have that discipline to continue this mileage? Because when you stop, even if it's for a month, you will lose the muscle memory. You may have the process, but you'll lose the muscle memory and it'll be like starting over again. So that's why maintaining mileage is extremely important. So hopefully you've done a few of these, okay? 3 or 4 short lines, arcs. Medium length, arcs. Up and over, down and up. I'm going to do one more vertical on this side. And we'll be doing one more section over here, okay? So now we have small, medium, and we'll be doing a longer version of the arc. And again, we're going to go over these 8 times over, okay? 8 times. Maintaining control, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the thing is, I've done this so many times, I got obviously the muscle memory down. When I'm actually moving, I'm not really even looking at where the pen is touching the actual line. A lot of the times, I am trying to memorize the motion itself. So when I maintain a locked position, I can move with the line. I can then recreate that motion over and over again consistently. Now, that kind of obviously control comes over years of experience, and it took me a good solid year to maintain a level of confidence that I really wanted. In the beginning, obviously, I messed up a lot. And if you guys are messing these up right now, good, that's the way it's supposed to happen, all right? If it's frustrating, I hope it's even more frustrating in the future, because again, you need to have these kinds of obstacles to really able to control and push past, all right? This is a skill-based form. This is not a talent thing. This is time investment. Let's do longer versions. Long lines, arcs. And again, these you will go over 8 times to maintain consistency and also to build more muscle memory, because now we have something that's much more, it requires a lot more muscle controls. Here with the line, I'm actually sliding along my wrist. Wrist is planted onto the page and I'm sliding along it. Sometimes my elbow is raised. Using my shoulder and elbow in combination, I am moving back and forth. With the arc, a lot of the times my wrist is planted and I'm moving along my elbow. Rotation. Line, arc, one more section.